Welcome, everybody. Happy Tuesday. This is the Health Coach Tips Tuesday show where we provide you with tools, resources, and tips as health coaches to go out there and build and grow your practice. I'm Jem Maleka, the marketing strategy expert for FDN, filling in for Piper today with Brandy, who is our Chief Operations Officer, who's here to talk to us about how health coaches can use functional lab testing in order to help their clients get better, long-lasting results. So if you are somebody that's interested in learning more about functional lab testing as a health coach for yourself and your clients, go ahead and drop the word lab below the video, and you'll be invited to schedule a free business strategy session to learn more about functional lab testing and how you can use it as a health coach. Welcome, Brandy. So good to have you here.
Thank you. It's exciting to be back on the Real Results Show.
I know. It's been a couple of weeks since we've had you here. And I'm excited for you to share a lot of the information that we have today with people about functional lab testing, because as a health coach myself and a functional diagnostic nutrition practitioner, using lab testing in my own practice with myself and with my clients has been incredible. It's helped me to get better results in my own health, and every single day when I meet with a client, it's helping them to do the same thing. And there's some controversy out there about health coaches using lab testing, and we have a unique way of doing that we're going to talk about today, which is really exciting because it really alleviates a lot of the controversy or stress around this. It allows us to do it in a way that is legal and without practicing medicine. We respect our fellow health doctors, professionals out there, and the work that they do, and we don't want to step on anybody's toes. We're just really here to help people get well and stay well naturally. Now, one of the things that we say in FDN is that anybody can run a lab test, but not everybody knows what to do with the information. So I'd love for you to elaborate maybe a little bit more on what that means to you as an FDN yourself, and how might we use that lab testing different than some people out there?
Yeah, that's a great point. And I use this analogy when I talk to my clients all the time. When I have the lab test in front of me, I'm not using it to diagnose anything. Because we are not doctors, we can't diagnose. So we look at lab tests differently. So if we're looking at a lab test and there is a marker that is out of range, we're always asking the question, why is it out of range? We're not thinking, okay, I'm going to recommend this to make the number better so that on paper it looks like you're okay. Instead, we're looking at all of these markers to kind of tell a story. So it builds on the foundation from the intake that we do with our clients, where we get a little bit of health history, we find out what their symptoms are, what their goals are for improving their health. And then the lab tests provide us more information to continue to build that foundation so that we have more clues and more information on what could be going on with this person. And then we can create a lifestyle program for our clients. And we're really putting them in the driver's seat. We're there to guide them, but it's them that are making the changes. They're the ones that are improving their health with our guidance. So we're not diagnosing anything. We're looking at where are the dysfunctions, why is something off on lab work, and what else can we look into to give us some more information and some more clues. So I think that's one of the biggest things that sets us apart from other people who just look at lab work and want to give you supplements to fix the number. That's definitely not what we do with FDN.
Exactly. And I'd be curious for our viewers out there is that how often does diagnosis actually help somebody? A diagnosis doesn't educate them necessarily about how do they get rid of that diagnosis? How do they reverse it? get it into remission. I think that's one of the things that we pride ourselves on as FDNs and being functional health coaches is that we don't medicate, we educate. So it's not about the diagnosis, or if they do come to us with a diagnosis, we're educating them. I'm like, well, let's explore, how did you wind up with that? And what are some of the healing opportunities that are available to you? So I'd love for any of our viewers out there, if this is really resonating with you, if you've had this experience yourself in terms of receiving a diagnosis or working with clients who have and they're still stuck, drop the word struck. Let us know that you're feeling this too. You're seeing this as well. So I think a great example of what you just said too, Brandy, is that I had a results review session with a brand new client yesterday who had been diagnosed with hypothyroidism, low testosterone, adrenal dysfunction, and she was put on, medications and some supplements, but nobody's really worked with her on these lifestyle factors like we're talking about. And when we ran a panel of functional lab tests, so we did one to look at hormones and adrenals, one to look at food sensitivities, we looked at GI health using a stool sample test, we looked at mineral imbalances and toxic elements using a hair analysis. We uncovered so many healing opportunities. For her, even her thyroid specifically, she had low selenium levels. She had a congested liver. She had gut dysfunction that was going up, all things that affect the production and conversion of thyroid hormone. So it makes you ask the question, was it really a thyroid problem? Did she really need that diagnosis? Or was that coming from someone else? And Mia, I see that you say my sound is a little choppy here, so I apologize for that. Let me see if there's something that I can do.
And while you're working on that, Jen, I'll kind of add to that. So personally, I have celiac disease, and just normal conventional medicine is like, okay, well, don't eat gluten, but that didn't solve my health issues. It was going down that deeper investigative route that we do as FDN practitioners to uncover some of the other underlying issues. Celiac was not the problem, it was the result of the problem. So after doing testing through FDN, I found I had food sensitivities, I had gut infections. So there was a lot of things that led up to that diagnosis, and that's where we look at things differently. And like you're saying with the client that you work with, the Hashimoto's is not the problem, and treating the Hashimoto's is not what you do. You found mineral imbalances. I mean, having low selenium contributes to an imbalanced thyroid. And so that's why we do look at all of the different clues from the lab testing that we have available to us, and we use it as a guide to help us uncover, like you said, those healing opportunities. And that really does set us apart and make things different.
Okay, let's see. Does it sound better?
Yeah, it does sound. Yeah, it sounds a little bit better on your side, Jen.
Yeah, let me know if it sounds better. I don't. So I agree with all the things that you just said. So the question is, how do health coaches get their hands on these functional lab tests, right? And because there are lab tests available to the general consumer, you can go directly to home in order a variety of different blood tests. But we're actually talking about functional labs that are primarily using urine, stool, and saliva. We do some of the testing for things like sensitivity tests. So how can they get their hands on these type of functional lab tests, Brandy?
Yeah, for sure. And just in case people don't hear, so basically you were saying, how do health coaches get access to these testing? Obviously, there's the test that your doctor would do in a normal setting when you go to see your doctor or your physician. And those are, what the doctors use for diagnosis. We're using functional lab testing that your doctor may not run. So we're looking at things like hair, stool, urine, saliva, and some blood testing. And we actually access it through with the FDN program, we have what's called the medical director program. So we actually have a medical director who is a doctor who really believes in the FDN philosophy and and what we do as FDN practitioners. And we have the ability to access this functional lab testing for our clients through the medical director program. So we have the ability to have these kits drop shipped to our clients. They can collect their samples from home. I would say 90% of the testing you can do at home from the comfort of your home. And then your client will send it to the lab and pay the lab directly. And then we get the test results and we can use it as a guide to guide our recommendations. So we aren't ordering tests like a doctor would order tests. We're not providing a diagnosis code. We're not using it for diagnostic purposes. We're just providing the ability for our clients to have access to this functional testing that we have available through our medical director program, because we do have such an amazing medical director that really believes in FDN and the philosophy and what we do and how we work as coaches.
Exactly. I think my audio might be better, hopefully.
Yes, definitely.
Okay. It finally picked up my headphones. So exactly, like we as an FDN organization have this great medical director program. So once you go through the FDN course, you get certified. Now you get access to the medical director program, which gives you access to all these different lab tests. And what always fascinates me too, Brandy, is we have access to over, I think, 60 different lab tests in there that helps us to facilitate lab testing all over the world. You know, we have lab partners in Australia, in the UK, and then here in the US, so that me as an FDN here in San Diego, I can work with people that are in Australia or in Europe, as well as the people that are in Australia that are FDNs can easily work with clients there or across the world too. So tell us a little bit more about that. And for any of you, again, who are interested in learning more about functional lab testing as a health coach, drop the word lab below the video and you'll be able to schedule a free business strategy session to learn more about functional lab testing and how you incorporate that as a health coach.
Yeah, so FDN has a worldwide reach. So our coaches just aren't based in the US. And the one thing about what we do is that we have the ability to work with clients anywhere in the world, no matter where we are. So we're not limited to just face to face, having somebody come to your office and work with you. We are able to work with them over Skype or over Zoom. And in doing so, we've really worked hard to try to make this type of functional lab testing available all over the world. There are some areas where it might be a little bit difficult and some tests might not be available, but we have done our best and we've made a lot of strides in the past few years to really make it accessible no matter where you live in the world. So as Jen mentioned, we have a lab partner that is in Australia that can service Australia, New Zealand, and Asia. We have lab partners in the UK that service all over Europe. And a lot of the testing that we do is based in the United States, but a lot of these labs we have really great relationships with are also able to send their testing overseas. So because we're not doing blood where you have to go to a blood draw center and have your blood drawn, it makes it easier for you to do this testing overseas. So for instance, with a dry urine test, you can ship it anywhere in the world. Your client can collect it at home and then they ship it back, and it doesn't need to be back to the lab in one day. So it had there's more time for it to go through customs, there's more time for it to get to the United States. And so we've really worked hard to have a wide variety of tests that are available to all of our practitioners so that they can service clients all over the world.
And I really appreciate that as an FDN. I always dreamt of having a 100% virtual practice, and having these partnerships has allowed me to do that. I don't have to spot kits like in my house where I work out of. We have these partnerships, so all I have to do is place an order and they drop ship the test to the clients, which is amazing. And oftentimes they're even supplying like prepaid shipping that makes it really easy for the client to send it back as well, right? So what I also want to elaborate on is that lab testing is a core piece of what we do. And some people will say, well, because I live in a certain area, I have limited access to lab testing. This doesn't really pertain to me necessarily. But there's more value in what we learn as FDNs that applies to the lab testing, as well as the very thorough intake process that we do, which is learning how to correlate the data. So something else that we say as functional health coaches, as FDN practitioners, is we don't treat the test results, we treat the person. So Brandy, what does that mean to you? And explain that to our viewers a little bit.
Right. I mean, when we go through the course, we learn how to it's called clinical correlation, but be a good investigator. So let's say that lab testing went away tomorrow. Would that mean we wouldn't be able to coach clients? Absolutely not, because we have learned to be able to go through a very thorough intake process with our clients where we can get their health history, we can see where they are, we can see what their goals are, and then we can still coach them on lifestyle things that they are able to do without testing and still see results. So the basis of FDN coaching is not just relying 100% on the lab test, because if that was the case, I mean, Jen and I have seen labs come and go several times in the years that we've been a coach. And if we just relied on one specific lab test to build our whole program around, we wouldn't still be here coaching clients. So the lab tests are a piece of it, but it's really, really important to learn how to critically think, to really get to know your client, have a very thorough health history and onboarding process. So then you can map out a plan for your client, whether you have lab testing or not. And that's the beauty, again, of FDN. I've taken other health coaching courses and I still come back to the philosophies that I was taught in FDN. And as we kind of were talking about off the top, regardless of what the client comes to you with, it doesn't matter what their diagnosis is. The method that we follow is always going to be the same and it will work for everyone. And that's the beauty of how FDN works. It doesn't matter who you are. I work with infertility clients, but what I do with my infertility clients would be the exact same thing I would do with somebody who has Hashimoto's or somebody who has anxiety. The method is still the same, and that's the beauty of the FDN philosophy.
Yeah, it really is. It does apply to everybody. Like when we do this lab testing and we identify these healing opportunities and we create a health building program that is directed and guided by objective data that helps improve their diet, their rest, their exercise, stress reduction, the proper supplementation, toxin removal. There's reasonable expectation that within 90 days they're going to feel better, if not be completely better sometimes. And I'm the same way. I've taken many of different courses, and the FDN philosophy and utilizing lab testing is still the core of what it is that I do in my work, which is so awesome. It gives you everything that you need to know, essentially. So, again, if you guys are interested in learning more about functional lab testing, how you can utilize it as a coach, feel free to drop the word lab below in the video. So you'll get invited to schedule a free business strategy session to learn more about functional lab testing as a health coach. So as we start to wrap up here, Brandy, are there any key takeaways or tips or tools that you would like to share with the viewers in regards to using functional lab testing as a health coach?
Yeah, I think one of the big takeaways, and I get this question from clients, is why do you choose the tests that you choose when you're working with clients? And it comes back down to we have a very thorough vetting process. So we don't just use any lab that's out there. There are hundreds and hundreds of lab companies and hundreds of options for lab testing. But we have the knowledge that of Reed working with his thousands of clients, and he was able to test and see what worked and what didn't. So that's the first point. And the second point is we look at the labs that we are working with and what is their history? Um, What is their research and development? What is their quality control? It's very important to us that we have a lab test that is accurate, that's great for its value, it gives us information, and that they've been around for a long time and they have a really good reputation. So, if you are going to look at lab testing, really keep some of those points in mind. You want to make sure that you aren't wasting your client's money by having them run a whole bunch of tests that maybe aren't giving you value. That's part of our job, is to be a good steward of their money when we are recommending tests for them to run. And don't go on a wild goose chase. Have a method to follow. You could easily have them run 10 tests thinking that you're going to find something, but if you're not using a specific method of what exactly you're looking for and what you're using those tests for, you're going to be spinning your wheels and you're going to be frustrated and your client's going to be frustrated. So really be mindful of that when you start to look at using lab testing in your practice.
I think that's a very important takeaway that we hadn't touched on yet. So thanks for sharing that. And that just goes back to the FDN philosophy. Like we say hidden healing opportunities, and the word hidden is actually an acronym. We're looking for healing opportunities within the hormone, immune, digestion, detoxification, energy, and nervous systems. And so the labs that we cover in our training for the FDN course are really centered around that. There's kind of like like 5 to 6 core labs that we teach on in the FDN course that help you to glean these insights from these different systems of the body, and then you correlate all of that data to see the big picture. Like we were talking about thyroid earlier. Well, what's going on with the thyroid? What's happening with digestion, detoxification, nutrient absorption, the rest of the hormones that are impacting that, which then it leads you to see that the diagnosis isn't really helpful. How we can really help this person is by coaching down contributors to poor health and coaching up function through diet, rest, exercise, stress reduction, supplementation, and toxin removal. So thanks for sharing that with us, Brandy. And again, as we kind of close out here, if you are somebody that's a health coach, or if you're interested in becoming a health coach and you want to learn more about functional lab testing, go ahead and drop the word lab, LAB, below the video, and you'll be invited to schedule a free business strategy session to learn more about functional lab testing as a health coach, so that we can kind of give you more guidance in that area than we were able to do here in about 25 minutes, because there's so much more to know in regards to this. So Brandy, thank you for being here and lending us your insights as our Chief Operations Officer who oversees our Medical Director program and all that we do in the course with lab testing. I will be on tomorrow for our Real Results Show with Ryan Monahan, who is another big person in our organization and in charge of our R&D projects, and one of our clinical advisors. So make sure you tune in tomorrow at 12. And then also we'll be back next Tuesday with more tips for you, same day, same time every week. All right, everybody. Have a great rest of Tuesday.
Thank you.